Now stuck at the Arclight, the sound of the harpist notes transports JJ and Joe into their pasts, allowing them to relive a beloved memory before twisting and warping it into a nightmare. An unscathed Mama Amaretta finds that while this occurred, the paintings in the art gallery had been destroyed, the paints themselves melting from the canvases. It is deduced that not only were crystals used in the paints, but a single string from the harp was made of the substance. Desperate to find a way out of the locked room, Zion, JJ, and Joe resort to vandalism before having an epiphany. Maybe playing that one string again would set everything right? Unfortunately, things don't go according to plan, and a scream sounds throughout the hall.
You can hear the sirens, the red and blue flashing lights through the window reflecting across the walls and polished floors and shocked and scared faces. The security that are trying to wake the recently fainted Annie are tapping her face, saying, Hey, miss. You can hear doors slam and footsteps as a multitude of enforcers climb the stairs and appear in the doorway. At their head is Captain Slate, who you are all very well acquainted with. Rosalind Glynne, the host of the party, rushes past, beckoning them forward. Oh, it was just terrible. And everyone at this point comes out from where they were hiding. So all of you who are staged behind the screen, closing your ears, come out. And Joe, you see outside the door Jack, and you see that she has one hand on the side of the railing that is going along the upper balcony of the second floor. Across from her, not too close, not too far, just a conversational distance, are these three people in these all the way buttoned up to their neck polo shirts. And they're all kind of gesturing with their arms. And then as you look, you watch one of them kind of look as if they're reaching for something.
Joe already wants to escape what is sure to be something like a stampede. And so she hops off the back of the stage and rushes towards Jack, muttering under her breath, "Oh, for God's sake."
As you rush out the doors, you can hear the footsteps of the enforcers starting to come into the Arclight, make their way up the stairs, but you've missed them just so. Since Jack and these other individuals are only 10 feet away from you at this point, you can hear that there's a bit of an argument going on, though in hushed tones. You notice that they notice the enforcers are coming, and you see that whatever is being pulled out isn't a weapon, but it is this circular thing with a couple gears sticking out of it, and you watch as they push up their thumb between these three different gears, almost stopping it. You watch the air, almost like when it's really hot outside and you can see the air move. It's almost that, encircle them, and you kind of get in it right before it passes you. And I don't think you've ever seen this in action, but I think being who you are, working in tinkering and everything, you've heard that these types of mechanisms exist. And they have changed, it's almost like an illusion, like a field shift, where they've shifted the air around you all so that no one can see in. It just looks like there's blank space.
Joe, kind of slides on her boots right into this force field of sorts.
You! What is this?
Can I choose my main attraction role? Since I've just slid into this.
Absolutely.
Got a 7. I think I'm gonna take one forward. Oh, did you not introduce me? Quite rude of her.
You see, upon hearing your voice, Jack's shoulders rise up a little bit, and she just goes, "Fuck. Great. She's fine. Don't fucking worry about it." And the guy who spoke originally is like, Okay, well, I think I can worry about it because, like, we don't know who she is. She's just showing up here and she magically shloop into our little chat right now. So, don't appreciate that.
Yeah, my manners. I'm Joanna Gilmore. Jo sticks out her hand in a very, like, gentlemanly way.
All three of these individuals look at it and look back up to Jack.
Right, brilliant. You all have obviously had brilliantly lovely upbringings. So, since I am in here, feel free to, like, talk freely, you know, whatever you were about to say.
Jo, it's fine. It's fine. I'm handling it. Don't worry about it.
What exactly are you handling?
Actually, maybe this is a question for you. Maybe you should come into this conversation just a little bit.
All right.
They turn and lean their back against this railing and cross their arms over their chest. She looks between the two of you and she goes, well, I would like both parties to explain to me something here. I was hired by the Weatherbees, Delia specifically, to do a job. Jo knows. You know. And I did the job. And I presented the evidence and I got paid. So what I would like to fucking know is why Delia hired these fucking goons to watch me now. That's what I would fucking like to know.
Is that what they're doing?
This other individual says, Jack, we told you that because we're just doing our job, okay? We believe you, we get you, but we were hired for something and we're not going to get paid if we don't do what we're told to do.
Sorry, I introduced myself and I'm still waiting on my introduction with you two. Are you with the Roses? The Velvet Roses, not Delia and etc.
And Jack goes, yeah, the Velvet, it's all the same thing. Yeah, they get it. That's Don, that's Corny, and that's Linny.
Are those your real names? Sorry, too personal. Anyway, isn't it quite rude to be spying on one of your own? Isn't trust your whole thing? Secret society and all that.
Yeah, actually, that's a good fucking question. And the one that Jack delineated as Corny says, hey, listen, we're doing a job. The Roses know we have this job. We don't take jobs that they don't know about. This came down from the top, so we're doing it. And so Jack is like, yeah, so great. So they also fucking don't trust me. What the fuck have I done? Nothing.
Not to make it all about me, but you have been spending more time with me.
Okay, so?
Well, we deal with cases. I know things. Perhaps they want to know what I know?
Linny says, well, we don't.
Oh.
We weren't told to know anything about you.
Well.
We were told to watch where this one goes at all times.
Well, I was just sort of trying to be helpful. Are they like bothering you?
Yeah, they're fucking bothering me, but that's all they ever do. So that's nothing new. And Don says, listen now, Jo, you just have to cooperate with us, okay?
Cooperate?
Yes. You gotta just let us do our job. We're not trying to hurt anybody here.
Jo kind of like gets to her full height, like leans over this guy. Are you threatening me? Corny.
Well, my name's Donnie. That's corny. But good try. And Jack is like, all right, everybody shut the fuck up, okay? What I don't understand is why any of this fucking shit matters, okay? Why, it doesn't matter that I'm hanging out with Jo. You guys have fucking partners that you hang out with outside of this?
Partners?
Well, they literally have partners. I wasn't necessarily saying that me and you are partners. I was just saying that they do have partners. All three of them, don't you guys? And Donnie goes, yeah. And Corny goes, yeah. And Lindy goes, yeah, we do.
Well, that's definitely something to discuss later.
Ignore that, okay? Ignore that. Why the fuck does it matter? Why are you guys really here? It doesn't make sense. Like, why are you... Donnie says, no, Jack, listen. I told you why we were here because I like you and because I do trust you. If I didn't, then I wouldn't have told you what the job was. But we still have a job. To tail me. That's what your job is then. Yeah, Jack, to tail you. Because you did a job for this individual and they just aren't under the impression that you did it to their liking. Well, I don't know what the fuck to do with that. Because they paid me for it. So if they didn't like it, why'd they pay me? And Lenny says, well, I mean, also doing that job crossed over with another person doing a job that knows a lot about the roses, and I think this job, they took the job because other people know about the job.
Could you potentially start speaking in a way that's, like, actually understandable to anyone in this circle?
They all look between each other like they perfectly understood that, and Jack also pushes off the wall and approaches like they understood exactly what was being said. You watch as Jack kind of like curls their hand into a fist next to their side. Linny, are you telling me that the roses are having you fucking trail me because JJ knows too much? I don't know, I mean, she was around a lot and she was almost like in it, and then she wasn't, and then she's all of a sudden working a job that's adversarial to us. If you fucking even think about making a move against, honestly, any of them, but JJ, because of that, you had your fucking chance, guys. You all did. Every single one of you. And guess what the decision was? That she was allowed to leave. Didn't come from you guys, didn't come from me, didn't come from her. She asked to leave. And they fucking let her leave. So why don't you just leave her alone? I won't fucking have it.
Joe looks around this whole circle, and really, when Jack goes on that sort of speech, like, really looks at them slightly differently. Of course, yeah, JJ is not an opponent to any of you. Just leave her alone.
And Jack gets up really close into Linny's face, and then Corny's face, and then Donnie's face. Are you following me now? Because I'm not the one who fucking hired Tressa. I'm not the one who fucking let JJ go. I don't need a fucking tail. I'm not stupid. And you hear
Joe grabs his wrist before he can even get the weapon fully out of the sheath, and she leans down. I would not do that if I were you.
I'm going to ask you to roll Defy Disaster to try to avoid this escalating anymore.
I rolled a 6. Daring is +1, and then I'm going to carry the one forward that I had. So 8.
As you do that, you watch Corny push the sword back into the sheath and put their hands up, nod at you. Good to know. But Joe, sorry for you. You're on a fucking list now.
Oh, please, I'm on so many lists I can't even keep track of them.
There's a few doors on the side of here that you don't know what types of rooms they enter to, but the three of them look at Jack, look at you again, then walk out as a unit. And you feel the field around you shimmer again and dissipate. And Jack is just fingers on forehead, rubbing her temples.
As the field sort of dissipates and as they move away, she feels this, like, tension and, like, confidence and agitation that she's been feeling sort of the whole night just sort of start to drain out of her as she looks at Jack. She rubs her face a bit and, well, you've got some real terrible friends, you know.
I wouldn't call them any friends of mine. Co-workers.
Partners?
Never those three. I don't have any partner now. I'm not allowed to do any jobs now. I just thought maybe that, along with the fucking bruises, meant that I was okay. Apparently not even now. They still don't trust me.
Joe kind of, like, has her hands in her pockets and, like, does this lean back rocking thing, kicks her boot against the floor. Look, I like knowing that you're safe. And those three don't make me feel good.
That wasn't a veiled threat, Joe. I think that maybe I gotta be scarce for a bit. If they're coming after JJ and now they're coming after you.
But can't we protect JJ better together?
It's just me being around is double the trouble. I'm the reason that they would come after you.
Right.
I'm the reason that you came up here in the first place. I'm the reason the threat was given. I don't see the easiest way to get around this, except for me to fucking disappear for a bit.
Jo interlaces her fingers behind her neck and gives a nod and swallows hard. I mean, it's your life. It's whatever you think. I don't even think Jo is quite self-aware enough to know why this is bothering her so deeply, but she's definitely felt very emotionally off-kilter since the nightmare and vulnerable. And Jack's been around, and it's been nice. So she feels very embarrassed when her throat starts to get thick with tears.
Let's not do that. No, listen. And she comes closer to you and kind of looks up. I don't know what you saw in there, but I didn't like how you looked at me afterward. And if anything would happen to JJ or anything would happen to you, I don't want to have to maybe see that look again. So, I think it's for the best. And then she gets up on her tiptoes, kisses you on the cheek, shoves her hands into her pockets, starts to walk away.
I think Jo sort of muscles through that, but then kind of can't help but say, right as she turns to leave, I've never seen you defend anyone the way you just defended JJ. I don't even think anyone's ever defended me that way.
She pauses as you say this.
I know JJ and I fight, and we don't get along all the time, and I know I behaved specifically tonight. But I don't ever want you to think that I don't care about her just as much as you do.
You watch her head drop a little bit, and then turn so you can just kind of see the corner of her eye. Jo, the Roses talk a lot of shit about family. And for a long time that was all I knew. But don't think for a fucking second that I wouldn't do the same for you. You and JJ, despite the shit show it all was, are actually the closest thing I got to family. And what I've always fucking done is protect family.
Jo opens her mouth to respond, but kind of chokes and can't. So she just gives a tight smile and a quick nod, and before she actually cries in front of Jack, turns on her heel and exits.
Mama, you see, as you come out into this space, that these security guards have a young woman unconscious on the ground. They're not holding her down. They're trying to actually prop her back up and get her back to consciousness. While nobody is panicking per se, there has been this entire time a high-strung energy. And so there was a sense of relief when Jo and Arthur got the doors to open again that has turned into kind of anxiety now that the enforcers have shown up. Though everybody is aware that they were called to the scene. They didn't just arrive out of nowhere.
Amaretta she can't ask an unconscious woman a bunch of questions, so she's gonna wait till the enforcers maybe wake her up. I think I'm gonna wait back and take the time to check in on my family and see how they've been holding up during everything, because I know, wow, Zion's been helping out. Everyone else has been kind of left to their own devices.
Andreas comes up behind you and kind of lays his hand gently against your upper back. I'm so sorry. This is one of my only gigs I've been able to invite you to, and it turned out less than favorably.
Well, that ain't your fault.
No, but it is an unfortunate coincidence that this happened. on this night of all times. There have been things that have occurred during some nights here, but nothing that I would describe as anything like this. Things is not anything that would put the lives of individuals here actually in danger.
Right. I mean, if anything, I'm kind of glad I was here, because at least I could do something to help folks out a bit.
Well, there's your positive thinking as always.
I try. But, you know, I feel bad for y'all, because this was unexpected, and, I mean, kind of mussed up your performance a little bit.
Don't even worry about that. It's of no concern. I knew tonight that I was not the main event.
I just want to make sure y'all are okay after everything. I know it's a little scary being caught up in all that, not knowing what's really going to happen, but I think for now we can afford to be a little optimistic.
He maneuvers himself so he's more, square to you now, preventing himself from, grabbing hold of your face and, moving it so that he can actually look at you straight on, because I think he's a little bit taller than you. Instead, dips his own body to try to catch your eye more straight on, and you didn't see anything, right? You're okay?
I mean, I saw lots of interesting stuff, but I don't know what you mean by I saw something.
Sorry, Everly saw some things that were less than ideal.
Oh, you mean... No, I didn't see nothing. It only seemed to...
Good, I'm glad.
I only got the kids, though, and that ain't pleasant. I ain't too happy about people hurting our kids now.
Me neither. But I think the best thing we can do, and he kind of looks past you, and behind you, you can see that Gwendolyn is not holding Everly, as Everly is a full-grown adult. So it's kind of one of those moments where you realize that a shift has happened when somebody becomes an adult with their parents, and there's closeness of comfort and trying to appease, but there's also a little bit of a distance of I'm the one who has to deal with this, so thank you for being here, but that type of thing. And I think you've probably felt that with your kids over the years as well. I'm interested to know, and I don't think it will be really hard to find out, if this anomaly was strictly kept to this room, or if it pervaded other places.
Well, I don't know nothing about the visions going somewhere else, but it certainly affected the paintings.
Oh, well then, it seems like the point of this was to destroy the event this evening, because the entire point of this event was that it would give people a real shot in life that they might not have had.
Yeah, it was really targeted towards young people specifically, and they weren't having that.
Well, I wouldn't be able to make up for what they lost out on tonight, and looks up at his wife, and you can see thoughts brewing in his head. Maybe there's something we could do for him.
I'm sure y'all could think of something. And if you need my help, I'm more than happy to offer it when I can.
Amaretta, I always love your help.
I'm more than happy to give it.
Well, I'm gonna let you tend to your children here. You've got a lot more of them here than I do.
One more. Or two.
I know how you feel about JJ and Joe. That's not surprising.
They're my kids. I'm not sure they see me that way, but...
Oh, that never matters. But I'm gonna get back to Everly. I'm a little concerned about her state.
Yeah, you do that.
And it gives you a little swift kiss on the temple, and pauses for a moment as if he might say something else, but then doesn't, and moves on. Arthur is coming away from where he pulled the string of the harp.
JJ will go up to Arthur. Oh, Arthur, hi, I was just looking for you. I'm so sorry about everything that happened tonight. I have to go help. So, like, we're an investigative, like, team, and so we're gonna investigate. But I had a lovely time seeing you, and I hope we might be able to hang out again sometime soon. And she'll give him, like, a punch on the shoulder of, this is not romantic any longer.
Oh, of course. I would have liked, I wanted to talk to my professor more anyways, but maybe I'll go do that. If there's anything else you need to talk to me about, though, well, you know where I am.
And you know where we are if you need anything.
I think that you can very clearly see that Arthur may not know why, but he is 100% picking up on a vibe that was very different than the one that you entered this space with. I know that tonight has been not what was expected at all.
And I'm sorry for that.
It's not your fault. I'm sorry that... I don't know what you had to see, but I'm sorry that you saw it.
JJ's face falls. I didn't see anything, so it really doesn't.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry that
you already told me that. I just...
It's been a long night, and you...
I just thought... it's okay. I have a lot of things to do. So I will be seeing you.
Thank you.
You watch Zion, like, 8 seconds behind you, come up the lobby stairs and find you outside of, like, the main doors. You're kind of blocked outside of the main doors by the enforcers who have come up the stairs.
You found the door. I also found the door.
I see that. Hey, how about next time? Even if we have some idea of daring escapes, maybe let's not do it by ourselves.
And JJ's gonna look in the direction that Joe went off in. I couldn't let her win. I know, okay? Oh my gosh, we're in a scenario where we're all trapped in a big room. Why do you care what Joe thinks? Because it's Joe. JJ will cross her arms, like, almost identical to the guy in the polo shirt, and, like, lean against the wall, and then look over and see him, and then stand back up. Roll her eyes for good measure.
JJ, you walked down the stairs, and then didn't call back to us if you were okay. This has nothing to do with Joe. We called down after you.
You did?
And you didn't say anything back. We had no idea where that staircase led to.
Oh, it led to a not the point.
Did I think in this place it was gonna be anything truly bad? No. But still.
I don't know, it wasn't gonna be a dungeon. I didn't think that... Honestly, I thought you would probably leave the door. Or... Okay, in all honesty, I thought that Joe was gonna finish breaking down the door and come after me, and so then I had to go faster so that she couldn't catch up, so that I could find the other doors first. I didn't think that you guys would be waiting for me. I wouldn't have left if I thought that. And now she's not even here, so...
She did kind of save this whole place from itself. What do you mean she's not here?
Great. So I run down the stairs. I get in trouble for running down the stairs. Joe saved the day anyway.
He puts a finger to your mouth.
JJ turns, like, purple.
What do you mean she's not here?
Who?
Joe.
Oh, I don't know. I saw her walking towards the enforcers. I assumed that she went to go talk to them. So she's probably around here somewhere. Or, honestly, more likely, she probably went. And, I don't know. Do you see Jack anywhere?
I haven't seen Jack in bit, but
That's probably where Joe
I don't
is.
really know Jack. I'm not really looking out for Jack.
Not that it's any of my business or any problem.
What is this? What is this? Because it feels like not only animosity. Feels like there's something else there.
Well, if I'm being honest, I'm a little tired.
Do you want to roll me a lie roll here?
That is a 4 and a 6. 10 plus 1, 11. I'm going to go with the lie you've chosen is unexpectedly perfect, creating a new opportunity. And they give you the benefit of the doubt. Because I think he's like, we won't talk about this now. Honestly, I kind of was hoping to fail that roll because I was like, I don't want Zion to believe me.
I don't think he does. I think that he still thinks that there is something else, especially after the brief conversation he had with Joe. Thinks that there's something else there, even if he doesn't know exactly what that is. But you're in a pretty stressful moment, or at least coming to the end of a pretty stressful moment. And I think at this point he is willing to just take you at your word and come back to it later. And so when you say that, he pulls himself back a little bit so you have space to move. And when he does that, you can see kind of around him. And I think at this moment, both Mama Amaretta and JJ notice that there seems to be a shift in the woman who had been tackled to the floor. And the security guards have been able to lift her up a little bit. Somebody who works on the staff has been bringing her water and is giving her a sip of water.
Yeah, let's go talk to your mom. I need to know what to do next. And JJ will walk up to Mama Amaretta and go, what's the plan?
Does Annie look awake?
She's coming to, so like she's been able to like sip some water. She seems a little bit still like confused of, after having fainted, but yes.
Well, I'm definitely gonna want to get some answers from that lady over there. Not sure if the enforcers will let me ask questions though, so in case they make it a bit difficult, you know what to do.
Distraction.
I will say, currently, the security guards of the Arclight are the only people around her. The enforcers are currently stopped at the door, and Captain Slate is still in conversation with the host of this party, who just seems to have not stopped talking.
JJ will turn to Mama real quick and be like, have you told the security about the paintings yet?
I mean, I told Rosalind I would imagine the security would also be aware of that at this point.
I'll make them more aware.
Fair enough.
You walk up to the couple security guards who are, making sure that Annie is comfortable.
Through the crocodiliest tears. My cousin's painting got ruined. Have you seen it? It's awful. Can you please? I need you to come with me right now and come look. It's all of them. They ruined everything.
And so the one that has kind of propped up her head doesn't really move. But the other individual pushes themselves to their feet and says, Miss, I need you to slow down.
There's no time. We have to... I don't know if you can get paint off of a painting, but it's like not the paint that's supposed to be there, and it's my cousin's birthday.
They kind of try to move you a little bit away, and they go, Miss, there is a woman who has fallen unconscious.
I can't breathe. I'm so upset. That's an 8 plus 1. 9.
You start hyperventilating, and they immediately go, I'm so sorry. Come with me. And they like start to like kind of carry you towards the large doorway that's the entrance to the room and hand you over to the medical team that has arrived on the scene. And as the medical team starts kind of like looking you over to make sure you're okay.
Oh my gosh, thank you for taking me so seriously. I do have to go find my cousin. Thank you so much. It has been wonderful getting to know you. You do so much hard work. And like she's discombobulated and just like pats them on the head and starts walking away.
You kind of get yourself away from them. You look up and you are standing right outside this door, which means that there is an upper balcony that is kind of like a elongated half moon, and then the lower floor. And you don't see anybody outside of scanning quickly a couple employees who are kind of standing down on the lower level looking up at the second floor, as well as enforcers who are looking like they're standing idly about, not having any idea what to do right now.
Can I go up to the enforcers? Hi, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I actually lost my friend. I'm sure you're getting a million people saying the same thing, so I totally understand, but I just need to know if you happen to see...
Sorry, ma'am. Unless you are need of medical attention, we're keeping everybody inside for the time being. Everybody here has been dealt a bit of a trauma this evening, and I understand everybody is tense.
Oh my god, what happened?
Well, that's okay. That's okay. We understand if this might be hard to, really fathom. It's alright. It's gonna be okay, and we're gonna let you all out soon. We do need to make sure everybody is okay inside before we can let people leave.
Absolutely. Actually, my mom is inside also.
Great. Then you should go back inside and you should find her. And when we're all ready to release everyone, you'll be able to come out with your mom.
I can go in even if I haven't been inside yet.
You came out.
Oh, I came out a long time ago, but...
No, you just came out freaking out, and that's how the...
Oh my god. Yes, that's who I was looking for, my twin sister.
A very gentle hand on your shoulder that's barely even touching you at all. Here's what we gotta do. Yeah, please just go back inside. Or go inside for the first time. And find your mom. I'm sure in no time, everybody will be able to go home.
Well, if there really has been a trauma, I really think that I should stay out here so that you guys can handle all the people that were inside when it happened. Has anyone been hurt?
How about we just have you sit down right here? And she points to the space on the ground right outside the door. And we're just gonna make sure you're okay.
I'm okay. Is everyone else okay?
When your mom comes out, you can go home with her.
Oh, we don't live together. I live in her office. I don't live in her office. I have an apartment. Don't tell her I said that. She'll get really frustrated.
Hey. It's okay.
I'm actually going to go, my other friend, I'm going to go wait by her motorcycle.
No, actually, I can't let you do that. We need to keep everybody who's been in this building contained in this building.
Good thing I haven't been in this building, and she's going to try to walk away. If they try to grab me, I'm just going to pull my way out of it, and I'm going to fucking run.
I need you to roll Defy Disaster.
That is an 8. I get a +1 if it's daring.
You can escape from this enforcer, and then you might have, not a bounty per se, but they're gonna be chasing after you because you look suspicious. Or you can let them catch you, act as if you were still just kind of stressed out, and they will physically put you back into the room.
I told Mama that I would distract the enforcers. And what is more distracting than a manhunt?
JJ rips out from this enforcer's hands that try to grab after her, books it down the stairs. There are some gasps from the employees in the lobby. Books it out the front door, and you can hear behind you the steps of enforcers running after you. And you can hear, "Halt! Hey, stop! Hey, put your hands up!" Pardon the interruption, but here's another show we think you'd like.
5 GMs in a Trench Coat is back, and this time with Season 3, as GM Tanlin uses Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for her story.
Imagine the stench of fear, of sweat and of blood, cold stone beneath your palm as you feel your way down an impossibly dark and endless hallway. Here there's as much fear as there is isolation, and as much hopelessness as there is violence, or at least fantasies of it.
Join Callan Omoris Caldwell, played by Adam Gonzalez, Reen Sato, played by Kim Siyuki, 2.5 Horns, played by Jesse Espinoza, and Onder Madison, played by Tanner Sherlock, as they navigate the kingdom of Miltant and the horrors that await them.
So you guys hear, like, an alarm bell, like, fucking, all the doors go, shadunk! And then you also hear, like, coming from the ceiling.
5 Gems in a Trench Coat is a TTRPG actual play podcast where 5 friends take turns weaving stories to the tabletop game of their choice each season. With new episodes out every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
We are in Silent Hill. It was just a joke before!
You can find the links to this show in the description box below. Mama Amaretta, you are about to come up to this woman Annie, and you get up to her. There's one enforcer there. She's kind of coming to. Somebody's bent down and trying to help her get water.
Hi there. I just want to see how you're feeling. I know you've probably had one hell of an evening. If you're all right, I just want to make sure. Would you be able to answer some questions about what happened to you?
She seems a little bleary-eyed. One of her hands comes up to grab kind of the glass to help herself drink. And she says, "I'm sorry, I don't really know what happened." And as she lifts her hand, you see that peeking out from under the long sleeve of her dress as it pulls up her arm when she moves, you see that there is ink, blacked, and strange symbols, runes almost. And more than that, they seem to be moving under her skin. As she kind of turns towards you, you also see that they're starting to move up the side of her neck. And you've seen these symbols before. Albeit larger and graffitied, but you've seen them. Over the windows of shops throughout Cypher City, from that one boy who is still asleep in the clinic.
You don't know how that got on your arm there?
And she kind of moves her arm and she goes, "What's happening to me? What is that?"
I'm not quite sure, but let's take a few deep breaths. I know it's really scary to see that. We're gonna get some medical folk, take a look at you. They might get some answers. But I've seen this somewhere before. All over Cypher, graffiti marks. I don't think you did it. You sure look like you don't know how the hell that got there.
Can we get it off? And she starts like trying to wipe her arm off from this ink, and it does not come off.
I think we should get a medical team to go look at that, and she'll kind of like look at the security guard and kind of like gesture for them to get some.
You see that they gesture at the individual who had taken JJ, and that individual nods and then motions in, and a team of a couple medical individuals, emergency response, come in. "We have an issue here. Sorry, we didn't know that there was anybody hurt inside."
I mean, she came in and collapsed, but also, you might want to take a look at this. I ain't seen nothing like this, so.
They both kneel down next to her, and the security guard kind of gets up and moves out of their way.
As they're doing that, Amaretta's going to be quickly trying to sketch out what's on her arm.
It's a little bit difficult because it's continuously like moving and shifting around her fingers, and you can kind of watch like as it comes up her wrist and over her hand and up through her fingers, it like disappears through her fingers and like starts again coming up and around. So it almost feels like this track of something that is happening. You definitely get enough of it down that you think somebody could make sense if they knew what they were looking at.
I think I'm going to leave this one alone because at this point I think this is all I'm going to learn from her, is the fact that she has this weird stuff and she's freaking out about it, and I don't want her to freak out about it anymore, so that's why I'm like, the med team's going to look at you, it's going to be fine, sweetie.
As you kind of step away from her, you hear, "And then these lovely people figured out an escape." And you look over and Rosalind is still talking to Captain Slate, but now pointing at you and saying, Please, I would love you to meet the people who helped us out of this situation." And Captain Slate looks over and makes direct eye contact with you and just nods his head and says, "Somehow, I'm unsurprised at your presence here."
Yeah, believe it or not, it was completely coincidental.
I don't know if I do believe that, but
can't blame you.
It also wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. You tend to show up in the strangest of places.
When you're in a job like this, it tends to happen.
Rosalind goes, "Oh, Oh, you know one another.
Our lines of work sometimes cross paths.
Well, I don't think I've said it officially yet, but for both of you to know, I would really like to find out who ruined this event tonight. You've mentioned to me before that you run a detective agency. Not to be rude to you, Captain, but this does seem to be, at least who's behind it, a bit of a private matter. And I would love to hire you to figure out who's done it.
I appreciate that, miss, and I'd be honored to do my best to try and solve this for you.
Well, Miss Glynne, you can certainly spend your money how you would like, but this is a public security issue, not necessarily a private one. So, please feel free. You can do what you want with your money, as I said. But that doesn't mean I'm stepping away from this case.
If there's anything you're willing to share that you find, be mighty appreciated.
I could say the same to you, if you want to, in the next couple days. Come to the department, and, well, if you were here, we would love for you and Miss Glynne here to make an official statement about what happened. It would help us in the long run, and I would not be averse to, after you've done that, possibly sharing some other information between us.
I'll make sure to check in with Miss Glynne about what we're sharing together, considering this is her information after all.
Well, she laid out a pretty intricate story, though emotional story, of tonight's events. And as you know, if there are any little missing details that you would like to offer us, be very helpful.
Of course.
In the meantime, I am going to make my rounds.
You do that.
Moves off towards other individuals in the crowd to speak to. Rosalind Glynne says, I didn't mean to cause any trouble.
Oh, no, not at all. Don't worry. I mean, Captain Slate and I, we sometimes work together. Sometimes our work gets complicated. It's just how it is.
She gets a sly smile on her face because she is absolutely reading into that more than she should. But she doesn't comment directly on it. Instead, she says, well, you have been the most helpful of individuals here this evening, and have seemed to have... I mean, you saved us, as in getting the doors open, you and your friends and your team. So if there was any way I could actually hire you to find out who is behind this...
Yeah, I think I'm starting to get an idea. I got some new developments. That lady that collapsed, she had some strange... Yeah, I'll keep you updated. She got some strange markings on her arm. Something I've seen before in Cypher, graffitis. Kid collapsed not too long ago and was found, painting those symbols all over Cypher. I'm gonna go check in with some experts that I think might be able to recognize the symbol. I don't know if you know anyone that also might know this.
It seems very odd to me that anything that happened in Cypher would come to Nova, but...
Yeah.
I suppose it could happen.
Odder still, it's targeting young folks, specifically.
And that is this foundation's bread and butter.
Right.
So, if you are interested, I would be able to... I can talk with the council behind the Night of Gilded Birds, and I'm sure we could come up with the money that you would need to take on this job.
Oh, well, I mean, I can send you our regular rates for what we do for kind of cases and stuff.
An invoice would be very helpful in our record keeping.
Of course. Let's keep our records clean, so you'll get an invoice soon. Do you guys prefer half up front, or is there any kind of payment system you prefer?
This seems easy to me, maybe not to you, but As in, I hired you technically in the middle of you figuring this out. Maybe just all at the end.
I can do that.
Wonderful. If you don't mind, I'm going to excuse myself.
Yeah, please take your time. I know you've had a stressful evening.
And without another word, she turns on her heel and walks away. You watch as your son runs across the room towards you and goes, Mama, JJ just did something really stupid. I got this though. Don't worry. And then just books it out of the room.
Amaretta just kind of sits there for a moment, lets out a slightly exasperated sigh, and just shakes her head. I think I'm gonna go talk to Yarrow.
Yarrow is still next to the stage where everybody kind of came out from behind stage. There are a few chairs there that were taken off the actual stage where the musicians were sitting, and they're now sitting against the stage. And she's sitting there. She is sitting still with that professor that you were briefly introduced to, and now Arthur as well. They seem to be in a fairly academic conversation as you come up to them, and they're like very involved with one another where they don't even realize you're there right at the beginning.
Hey y'all, how y'all holding up? How are things going?
Oh, Mama, well, I think everyone here is good. And she looks over and the professor just nods at you, and Arthur's like, I've been better, but I'm good, if you know what I mean.
Sure. It's been an evening, that's for certain. Have y'all got any progress on what we found on the instrument and the paint yet, or... Because I found something else y'all might be interested in.
Oh, I think all we have are theories, since we haven't been able to actually test anything yet. What is it that you have discovered?
Show them the symbols that she painted. This was on the girl that came and collapsed.
Is she okay?
I'm not sure. It was moving all up and down her arm in a really weird way. I'd only seen this somewhere before, and only in cipher, and the person painting it hasn't woken up in a good bit.
The professor looks at it and says, Well, I've never seen anything like that in my studies, I will say. Arthur says, Oh, that was in the news, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yarrow looks at you. There's a look on her face, and this very clearly says, maybe we should talk about this in a more private place. But then she says, interesting, I didn't expect this to come up again. And then just kind of looks back at you with a knowing look.
Amara will just nod her head and go, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's weird that it's popping up here of all places. That's for sure.
As Arthur said, I have seen it saw it in the papers.
I mean, hopefully, y'all, if you get the chance to check out what that was and maybe get back to me on the effects of what we found, that might help us figure out who's responsible for this. I have my ideas, but ideas aren't exactly the same as evidence.
Well, I'm very much interested in throwing. I need a new subject to look into right now. So this will be great. I will definitely help you out. I don't know how much help I'll be able to be, but maybe if I can steal this string, I can figure out properties of this crystal specifically. And then he looks around, and there are enforcers all over the place, and Arclight security all over the place. But I'm not sure I'm going to be able to be very successful on that front, so I will look into it in other ways, maybe.
You might want to check out Septimus, considering they're the ones responsible for making such an instrument. They got access to this material, or someone tampered with this product before it got here that they weren't aware of.
That might be a good start, the professor says. Well, we'll say that the distribution of crystals is a pretty policed business. It's very hard to get your hands on them if you aren't supposed to.
Right, so someone at these companies or someone who doesn't like these companies?
I would have to say, the only other way to get your hands on these things... how do I say this in the most gentle way? In the underground markets.
That makes sense.
So if somebody wanted to tamper, if there was a space between when this thing was made and when it showed up here, that's also possible. So I think there are two avenues, but I think you're right. The way to first go about it is to go to the source.
Probably. Or at least make them aware that someone's tampered with their stuff, and if they could figure out who, that'd be mighty helpful.
Very, very important. Arthur says, I do think, and he kind of looks out the window, I do think it may be a bit late this evening to try to go to the musician makers, or the instrument makers, the Septimus. I don't even know if I have to look it up. I don't know if there's a store or any of that.
But, yeah, I mean, we don't gotta worry about that tonight. I think right now we just need to focus on getting some rest after everything that's happened. I've picked up a bad habit of working all the time.
I'm not sure if, sorry, and he kind of looks at Yarrow, kind of looks at the professor. This is a little embarrassing. I'm not sure if JJ would be okay with it, but you were kind of my ride here tonight, and I was wondering if you could maybe take me home.
I mean, I don't see why JJ would not be okay with that.
She just said some things, so I wasn't certain.
Yeah. JJ says a lot of things.
Very true. Very true.
Well, anyways, yeah, of course you can get a ride home with me if needed. JJ seems to have gotten caught up in something stupid, as my son put it. Not quite sure what that is. So, don't think it'll be much of a problem right now.
As we pull out of this conversation, you see that Captain Slate is currently directing enforcers a bit around the room. Annie has been taken out of the room. You see that a lot of the children who were performing this evening and their parents have also had conversations with different enforcers and have also been let out. And then finally, Captain Slate actually walks up onto the stage, goes up to the microphone that just makes an awful sound. Sorry. We just wanted to let you know that we're all very thankful for your patience this evening. We're very sorry for what has happened. And while we will be looking into it, we want to let you all know that you are free to leave and go back to your homes. Just make sure that if you think of anything, that you call us and let us know. It would very much help in us figuring out what happened here this evening. Thank you. And everybody kind of starts to get up, and enforcers are kind of trying to slow the rush out the door as this happens. We cut to the front of the building as JJ slams through the front of the Arclight, doors bursting open, couple excited, surprised shouts from the individuals who've been sitting outside, the ticket takers, the coat takers, the guards. And as you sprint across the brick-laid courtyard, you hear again the feet behind you, running towards you. And as you get out here, and you remember that you were running towards Joe's bike, you remember that everyone valeted their vehicles.
Joe didn't.
But Joe drove it away from the front of this place, so it is no longer outside.
Could I make the argument that the Roses have some sort of hideout, maybe not nearby, but close enough that I could get there, and it's not like a base, it's not like somewhere they are often?
I will let you roll a Defy Disaster once more. I think in order to get there without being caught, you're gonna have to get a full success.
Okay, could I argue that I'm doing it with wit? It's a 4 and a 1 plus 1, which I think is a failure.
I mean, this place is so beautiful. The lights are just silhouetting you perfectly, but you don't even care. You are running from it. You have a destination in mind. You know where to go. You know it's been a long time since you've been there. Maybe that isn't a place that exists anymore, but it's all you can try. And you hear the boots in the distance, and then you hear, JJ! And a voice that you know, but it doesn't really get you right away. It's You're in pure anxious mode. It doesn't matter who is coming after. You have a destination. You're getting there. And then you hear, JJ! I swear to God, if you don't stop right now!
JJ doesn't stop, but turns to kind of see, like, I know that person, like, I know that voice so deeply. It, like, breaks through the panic mode for just a minute, like, breaks through the adrenaline. But as she, like, turns to peer around, like, over her shoulder, trips over one of the cobblestones and wipes out.
The footsteps kind of stop. They slow at least. Get up! Look at me!
I think JJ just, like, blinks, eyes, like, as wide as saucers, and just scrambles back up to her feet, tries to, like, dust off her clothes, gets a little bit of blood on her fancy clothes, seems to have a realization of, like, her full, like, cover thing is ripped and torn. She's now dirty from the ground. She's surrounded herself with enforcers, and her, to this point, best friend is chasing her down.
The enforcers, 4 of them have stopped a little bit farther back, just like taking position, ready to move if need be. 2 of them are slowly walking towards you. But all you really see is that Zion is stomping towards you across the beautiful, almost like garden courtyard. And at some point, one of the enforcers turns around because he gets close enough and shoves his hand against Zion's chest, and you just watch as Zion, like, pushes against it, because, like, just keeping eye contact with you, and says, "What the fuck do you think you're doing?"
Being distracting?
Do you not fucking get it?
I'm sorry?
He brings his arm down on this enforcer's arm and pushes him away and crosses the distance between the 2 of you. Do you not fucking get it?
JJ's gonna lean in and just go, is this part of the distraction? Like, nose to nose.
You can't run away from me. He takes his hand and cups your chin with it and says, "I'm fucking in love with you," and then kisses you.
JJ is gonna, like, wide eye, like, blink, blink one more time, and then go to wrap her hands around his neck as she leans forward to kiss him back.
Zion pulls back just centimeters away from you and says, "This was a distraction, but this was also real. So, bear with me."
Uh-huh.
Kisses you one more time, not as intense as the first time, and then turns around and says to the enforcers, "I'm so sorry for the misunderstanding here." And the individual who had been talking to you originally went, "Oh, right. Gave us cause for concern. We thought there was maybe... We see now. This was a little lover's quarrel and not some impending doom. Please, continue. So sorry." And turns around and, like, waves off the rest of the enforcers here. And Zion turns back. "This wasn't necessarily how I wanted this to go, but it felt like it needed to happen. Because why were you running from enforcers in the first place?"
It was something to do.
"I think I could give you something better to do." And kisses you again.
JJ just grabs him by the collar. Okay. And lets him go, and then starts marching off back towards the place.
Coming out the door, at the bottom of the steps, is Mama Amaretta and her whole family, pretty much. And Arthur. It looks like a little bit they might have seen the end of that.
Amaretta has her fan up so that poor Arthur can't see she's grinning like a goddamn fool.
JJ is going to see a problem she has created, and she's going to turn on her heel and walk back in the direction.
Zion, kind of puts a hand up to Mama to be like, see you later, and turns around to follow JJ.
JJ turned around and turned purple again. Just, like, fully, like, is blushing. Like, I think she's made it to maroon. Turned around, I think probably grabbed his, like, shirt sleeve to be like, I'm not walking away from you. I'm not trying to get away from you. I'm not ready to face the other consequences, actually. Let's go this way.
And, like, at first there's, like, a little bit of surprise as he lurches forward in your grasp. And then you feel him kind of brighten up and his hand slip around your waist and kind of pull you into his side as you walk down the street away from the Arclight together. Back at the front of the building, you see that the enforcers have kind of spread out a little bit. Not to, like, catch anybody, but to, like, make sure that there is a slow and not panicked exit from the Arclight. And you also see that they are not only getting the people who had gone to this event out, but they are, like, evacuating the whole building. Like, the people from the lounge are coming out and all of this. So there's, like, a lot more people in this vicinity than there were necessarily in that specific event. Arthur takes a couple steps forward. His hands are shoved deep into his pockets, shoulders kind of hunched. And he kind of, like, looks over his shoulder, but it's in a way where, like, he can't really look at you, Mama Amaretta. And he just says, I know I asked for a ride. Thank you so much for inviting me or extending the invitation my way. And I think it's not too far. I'm gonna take a walk. I'll still help you, but I need to walk tonight. He turns out the front. You watch him, like, hunch his shoulders even more as he crosses the street and goes on about his way. And Yarrow says, he always did have the worst timing.
Yeah, he does.
He could have maybe waited till he was out of the vicinity, or maybe he could have done this about 10 years ago.
Or he could have, not dropped the ball on tonight.
You're also right about that. I actually want to know. I know he couldn't get out of work. I know that, but he did not have to show up here looking like he looked. He could have taken extra 30 minutes, gone home, got himself changed.
Well, you know how he is. He takes after,
She actively tries to just completely skim over the insinuation you made. Well, it might have been, I think, more of a, he knows. I don't think JJ minded.
Yeah, JJ's not one to mind, that's for certain.
You and Yarrow, you call the valet to go get your car, and you stand at the curb with Andreas and Everly and Gwendolyn as well, and they get their car.
I should make sure to give them all hugs goodbye.
Everly says, I don't quite know what it is that you're dealing with, Aunt Amaretta, but it's not good.
Yeah, I can say that much. It ain't something I've ever seen before.
It was extremely unkind.
That's for certain.
So be safe.
Yeah. You too.
She ducks into the car, and Gwendolyn says, no, she's right. Please be safe. If you need anything from us, always.
Of course, Gwen.
I'm sure we'll see each other soon.
Of course.
She also gets into the car, and Andrea steps forward and says, next time, I think what I will do is host a party in my own home.
Well, yeah, that'd be nice. Let's just hope no one starts breaking in and making a havoc of the place.
We'll hope not. I think that is less something to deal with when I know where we're at. Again, I know I'm so sorry.
Don't apologize. I mean, I feel bad for you, considering how this night turned out. Besides, it ain't your fault at all.
Well, good thing is, no loss of my job. I'll be back here in a couple weeks doing it all over again.
And that's good.
But Gwen is right. We should help each other more.
I know.
If you need anything, give me a call.
I'm sure to give y'all a ring.
And he reaches out and, like, clasps your hand between both of his and nods to you and gets in his car, and you watch it drive away as yours pulls up to the curb. And Yara says, well, Mama, if it wouldn't be too much of a pain, Kinda miss my old bedroom.
Of course, baby, you can stay over for the night. We always got a place to stay under my roof.
We can talk more about all of this tomorrow. It's a bit to think on, and I would like a night's sleep.
Yeah, I'll fix you a drink when we get back so you can get some good sleep.
That would be very lovely.
Of course, honey. And she'll, go and just cup her daughter's cheek and just do a very gentle rub before opening the door for her daughter and then getting in the car herself.
You pull away from the Arclight, from an evening that provided more problems than answers, even though you do have a couple leads to follow. And you make your way back through Nova, back across the bridge, and back into Cypher City. This series stars Kenzie Tartaglione as the Game Master, Atlas Matthews as JJ August, Danielle Halen as Mama Amaretta, and April Consolo as Joanna Gilmore, with Michelle Kelly performing our episode recaps. You can help us out by listening and sharing, rating and reviewing, or coming over to our Discord. Also, you can join our Patreon to get access to our episode talkbacks and more. Thanks for listening.